Reject the modern day. Embrace monkey. Hello everyone, I'm Matt, and welcome to Myth Wukong, the biggest surprise of 2024, for me at least. I'd heard of this game and seen some footage here and there, but I paid little attention to it. However, as the release date got closer and my friends started hyping it up more and more, and I started learning about Journey to the West, I bit the bullet and pre-ordered, and I was thoroughly blown away once I finally got to play it. 2024 has a new contender for my Game of the Year, rivaling Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Myth Wukong has a simple story on the surface with much deeper meanings if you look into it. The world is beautiful, the music is fantastic, the few characters you do meet are pretty cool, and the combat is amazing. Paired with the combat system, the boss lineup is absolutely stacked, 90 plus bosses in total, and today we're going to go through them all. Not as a boss ranking, but as a platinum trophy hunt. That's right, today we're looking at Platinum Myth Wukong. Let's do this. The opening of a game can set the mood for the entire experience, and Myth Wukong knows this perfectly. We're a monkey. All we have is a flying cloud and a magic stick, and we're still making the entire army of heaven freak out with our mere arrival. This opening duel is incredible. There's no difficulty, but it's full of spectacle, character, awesome music. It's fantastic. It feels like something out of an old God of War game. But of course, we can't be allowed the full power of Sun Wukong past the tutorial. Our journey is laid before us. We are the Destined One, commanded to retrieve the 6 relics of Sun Wukong and bring them back to this mountain in order to free him from his stone prison. When people call you a fruit, just do this.
You sneaky rascal!
This Platinum Trophy journey will be a bit different than any I've done before. For one, if we look at the actual trophy descriptions, what does this even mean? What sort of enlightenment do I need to attain in order to comprehend this? Let me give you the fast and simple guide to deciphering this madness. We need to beat every enemy and boss in the game. That covers the vast majority of the trophies. This means every single side quest and secret area needs to be found and completed, as they're all crucial towards the platinum. As we make our way through Chapter 1, we find our first secret area. To get to it, all you need to do is ring 3 bells. It's really not that hard, considering I was able to do this with no guide and before I started exploring everywhere. All you need to do in this area is walk forward a few feet and beat up this yellow crybaby. It's a pretty fun boss fight with some unique mechanics. Before you do this, however, make sure to kill the Wandering Wight in the regular world in order to obtain the best spirit skill transformation in the game. He'll disappear if you kill Elder Jinchi first. Wandering Wight is easy to find, and in the first real expanded area of the game, he's just up and to the right. If you don't know who Wandering Wight is, he's the guy who reminds you that for all intents and purposes, Myth Wukong is a Souls-like. Chapter 1 is fairly linear. The secrets aren't that far off the normal path, and there's not too much to see besides the secret area, this drunk monkey, and the spirit skills you can pick up throughout. The only other important thing is a little encounter in the Bamboo Grove Black Hills Shrine area, which is Bojack Horse Guy. Exhaust his dialogue and make sure you do it before you beat the final boss of Chapter 1, or you'll miss out on the trophy for doing his questline. Alright, that's all the important stuff taken care of in Chapter 1. Time for Chapter 2. I found the secret area in Chapter 1 all by myself pretty easily, so this should be the same, right? Right? Well, we wake up after a crazy night out and listen to a headless Scottish guy singing to us. Already we're off to a fantastic start. We make our way through this entire area and talk to the horse once again. Hey man, fancy seeing you here. Again, make sure you do this. It's very important. Like, mandatory for the platinum important. Speaking of important, let's set some ground rules right away. 1. Explore everywhere possible. Chapter 1 is quite linear. Chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are not. There are secrets everywhere, NPCs to talk to, items to find, and you'll need to find them all. Things like these medicine pills, which you need to find all of for a trophy, and chests, which contain items you need for crafting armor and weapons, and much more. So explore every bit of the map, no matter how big and snowy it may be. Also, there's no in-game minimap. Have fun with that. 2. It's better to not beat any area boss until you've finished your exploring. Sometimes, quite rarely, you can get locked out of bosses or interactions if you beat the in-chapter boss, and while there is compulsory New Game Plus required for this trophy hunt, I think we'd rather do as much as possible the first time around. 3. Pick every plant you see at all times. It'll come in handy for later for the seed trophy. Especially look out for these things, Luisia fragrant vines, and only use those to upgrade your starting gourd until it gets to its max level. I know there's another one you can upgrade, but that one isn't required for a trophy. This one is. 4. Kill every enemy you see at least once. Even the big ones. Especially the big ones. It's required for the trophies. 5. I won't be covering every side quest or enemy or collectible. There's far too many of them and I don't want this video to be the one to break the 60-minute mark. This journey will be shorter than the actual journey to the west, I swear. Guides exist and I'll be happy to link a few in the description. That being said, I'll be calling out the majority of the missable enemies or collectibles, because those are sneaky bastards and we don't want to have to come back to get them in New Game Plus as much as possible. Alright, getting back to the journey, we've fought our way past a roadblock in the shape of a stone tiger, and we unlocked Rock Solid, an utterly useless power. I mean, it's good in the fact that it lets you parry, but it's bad in the fact that enemies in this game hit 50,000 times per combo, and not all attacks can be parried in the first place. Now, it's time to fight the Yellow Wind Demon Sage, an antagonist I actually remembered from the books. Thank you, OSP. The hardest bosses in the game so far for our young monkey have been the Wandering Wight and that tiger I mentioned earlier who could perform Rock Solid. And neither of them were anything I couldn't defeat without good old-fashioned practice. It only took me a couple of tries each. This boss will be the same, right? Yellow Wind Demon Sage is a difficulty spike. You need to learn his tells, time your spells, and stay hyper-aware at all times to come out on top. Things get harder when he unleashes his wind attack, blanketing the arena in a sandstorm that limits your movement and your visibility. If only there was a way to stop that move. In any case, we do get the win eventually, and remember the headless Scottish guy? Turns out he's actually Chinese. Who would have thought? After a post-chapter cutscene that shocked me the first time I saw it, it's now time for Chapter 3, right? No, we have cleanup to do, because it's at this point that I started using guides. Like I said, each chapter has a secret arena, and while Chapter 1's was easy to find, the rest are certainly not. Let's run through how you get to the secret place in Chapter 2. You need to go to this area, talk to this pig, go to this area, talk to this rock, go to this cave, kill these stones, go back to the first rock, beat up that rock, buy this rock from that rock, go back to the pig, feed the pig, go to the temple, find the pig, go back to the first place, fight the pig, and then he opens a door to the past for you. You follow all that? No? Good. In this past realm, we need to fight this enormous fuck you beetle, which we do, and halfway through we're assisted by the Yellow Wind Demon Sage. You know, the one we fought and killed already. We even get a vessel out of it, a very useful one, granting passive damage reduction and large damage reduction when activated. This is going to be my main vessel for the rest of the game. Oh yeah, there are 4 vessels in total. You get them by doing the secret areas that are required for a trophy. We'll pick those up as we go along, quite naturally. They're very useful items. Also, this particular vessel has anti-wind properties, which includes stopping the sandstorms created by the Yellow Wind Demon Sage during his boss fight. Would have been really handy to have that ahead of time, huh? This is why you should always do the secret areas first. We also make conversation with this hole over here back in the village. It's relevant, trust me. Right, we've finally wrapped that up, and now we're off into the snow. It's beautiful here, and don't worry, we have plenty of time to enjoy it, because this chapter lasts for approximately 500 years. The first part is innocent enough, lovely caves and snow-covered buildings, and even a gorgeous lake. After that ass-kicking from me or from him, we end up here, in the Pagoda realm. Pagoda as in Pa-go-to hell, because this area is way harder than anything else you've encountered in the game so far. The weak enemies you've been steamrolling? Gone. These guys don't fuck around. Those invisible walls? Gone. Welcome to full damage. Your health bar? Gone. Periodically, the area boss releases a spell that cuts your health in half, helped along by these terrifying Winter Lantern-esque motherfuckers that wander around during this mode and pack a mean punch. If you can, kill all of them before you kill the area boss. You get a curio for it, and it is missable until your next playthrough, as they won't come back once you've killed said area boss. There's 9 of them in total for you to slay, including one hidden out of the way, but I only picked that one up in New Game Plus. Finally, we're free, after dealing with one of the harder bosses in the game. I missed that opening section's power level. This game was a lot easier when I had no stats to worry about. There's even more to see and do in Chapter 3, however, such as riding a giant turtle and meeting the infamous Pigsy, or Zubaiji to give him his proper name. Don't worry, he's actually going to be useful to our epic quest, which must be a first for him. After reaching dry land, we find a grumpy dragon and smack him back to his senses. After fetching him some medicine from the pill crafting dog back in chapter 2, he gives us a magic scroll that finally unlocks our hub world, the Zodiac Village. It's here that we find the drunk monkey, the medicine crafting dog, grandpa dragon, and a new fella, the Yin Tiger, the source of another trophy. He's our not so friendly blacksmith, and it's here that we can upgrade our armor, which earns us a trophy for doing it once. There's also the option to fight him, which you need to do in order to attain his transformation for a trophy, and he also unlocks you a third curio slot once you beat him, which is incredibly useful. The only issue is that he is...
You're far below him. Train well before returning here.
strong. Moving on from the village, we now have a secret boss to find and defeat. After hopping off the turtle, we can find a man in distress from Yaoguais. Take them out and exhaust his dialogue. Later on, you should find him again. He's giving you the cold shoulder, mainly because of the hypothermia. You should have obtained the Ring of Fire spell by now, so use that on him and you'll start feeling more chatty. After you exhaust his dialogue, head to the Forest of Felicity Shrine and go right, and descend as far as possible down the mountain, following the stream until you get to the Melon Field Keeper Shrine. That's when this innocent treasure hunter reveals himself to be actually evil, and we're forced to take him down. After that, we get a cool new spell from a Buddha, that I've literally never used, but still, it's appreciated. It gets us closer to a trophy. Also, make sure you find this area called the Great Pagoda. You head to the snow-veiled path, go right along it, and keep going. It's a surprise tool that'll help us later. After all this nonsense, we finally make it to the new Thunderclap Monastery. It still took us less than 14 years. Take that, Tripitaka. This place is massive, but there's 3 important things we need to find here, aside from a few bosses that need killing. First of all, go back to the Forest of Felicity Shrine and talk to this fox corpse that's strung up next to a gate. Remember the messed up cutscene from the end of chapter 2? This is actually that fox. We need to go and find the man who killed her and get... well, she doesn't actually say what she wants, but we're going to presume vengeance. He's in the leftmost part of the new Thunderclap Monastery, so go outside the room he's in, transform, head inside, and kill this bastard. Nearby this man, we'll also find Horse Guy again. We love to see it. Have a chinwag with him to continue the questline. And finally, we make it to the head of the temple and we fight Monobrow. Monobrow! And finally, we make our way to the main building of the Thunderclap Monastery and we fight Yellowbrow. I have no idea who this guy is, but considering all his followers are murderous Yaoguai, probably a safe bet to take him out. I remember thinking, damn, this fight is pretty easy, and promptly kicking myself when I got sucked up into his sack. I wish there was another way to phrase that. This boss rush sequence, with Yellowbrow, the macaque, the weak enemy slaughtering, and then the actual fight with Yellowbrow when he starts trying, is a highlight of the game and really well done. Yellowbrow is a tough fight, there's no vessel to cheese him with, and he can nullify a lot of your powers. It's impressive and challenging, but we eventually pull through, and another trophy is ours. Chapter 4, and I hope you don't mind spiders, because we're about to go through a lot of them. In Journey to the West, Pigsy banged a spider, and we're facing the consequences of his actions. After facing one nightmarish hellspawn, we head down into the depths of this cave. I'm honestly not sure how to sum up this area, because there's dozens of secrets in here, and I should really address as many as possible. Let's stick to the essentials. Horse Guy is in here. You need to fight the centipede guy, then head past him further into that part of the hollow. You'll eventually see a big webbed cocoon. Give that a smack and he'll be in there. Talk to him as much as possible, and you've locked in that questline for completion. It's also in this place that we find the relief of the Fallen Long Keeper Shrine and area, and just beyond that is the Yellow Long. I will now explain why he's important. Back in chapter 2, you can get an item called Long Scales. Go to this area where you fought the first Prince of the Sands, then use the Wandering White attack on this crack in the wall. Through that, you'll get your item. From there, look for a sand waterfall in chapter 2. The scales will let you go through it and you'll be thrust into a boss fight. Fight it and win. Go back to chapter 1 now, to outside the forest, and look for a waterfall. You'll be able to go through it, and there you'll find a boss fight. Fight it and win. Chapter 3 now, head back to that giant turtle. Head to the right and down, and you'll find another long in need of a good killing. Watch out for this one, it's actually a decent challenge. I recommend shock resistant gear and medicines. Now, finally back to chapter 4 and this yellow long fella. He's the last one we need to kill for the trophy. Fight him and win. Huh. Well then. That was harder than expected. Like, 3rd hardest boss in the game levels of hard. Great fight though. Head as far down into this cave now as possible, descend into the depths, and you'll find Pigsy. He's looked better. Let's knock some sense into him. Hey, get back here! Alright, round 2, in which Pigsy really lives up to his name. I guess Ballsy wouldn't have rolled off the tongue as easily for a name. Okay, you feeling better now? Hey, that's my sidekick! Goddamn spiders. Alright, let's go save him. Again. Oh hey, turns out he was just hanging out with his ex. Never a good sign. Especially when she looks like that. Goddamn spiders. Alright, Pigsy, are we done now? Oh, Jesus! Nope, 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 no, 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 no. Thank you, spiders. One time I'll ever say that. It's refreshing to be in an area that isn't a cave for the first time in a few hours. Greenery never looked so good. Proceeding through this lovely forest, we reach the Court of Illumination Shrine. It's here where we begin the cleanup. Do not go down this path into the wide open area. That's where the final boss is, and we're not ready for that yet. Throughout the webbed hollow, there are 3 purple shrines that you can rip the tags off. One near the Verdure Bridge, one near the Cliff of Oblivion, and one in the relief of the Fallen Long. Heading from the Court of Illumination and going up the stairs will take us to the 4th and final one of these shrines, and ripping the tag off triggers a boss fight. Admittedly, it's not much of a boss fight. We take out 1/3 of his health and then we lose in a cutscene, but hey, it's necessary for a portrait and for getting more of those medicine pills. Now, let's get on to the real meat of this chapter, the secret area. Finding this one is more complicated than you'd hope, but easier than you'd think. Go to the pool of shattered jade and proceed through the area until you find a big cocoon. Fight it, and eventually the venomous Taoist will pop out of it. Fight him, but do so in a specific way. You need to hit him in the back numerous times to break off those 4 extra arms he has. Once you do that, you'll get the Venomous Arm Guard armor piece required for the Mantled with Might trophy, which is collecting every armor set in the game, and it's very missable if you don't do this. I recommend using Immobilize with no duplicates to wail on this guy's back to break the arms while doing as little damage as possible, using a weaker weapon if need be. You can always let him kill you and come back for another go if things start going south. He dips out once you win, and then we travel back to the Court of Illumination. Run back the way you came, go straight, then take the path to the left and follow it as fast as possible. You'll now get your rematch, and with no armor to grab, there's no reason for us to hold back. Defeating him unlocks the secret area of Purple Cloud Mountain, quite the scenic locale. First off, do not defeat the area boss until you've done the Taoist Me side quest and killed the Scorpion Lord, or you'll miss out on those and you'll need to go to New Game Plus. The Scorpion Lord is a very tough boss that you'll find as you wander around the area. He's just chilling on top of a roof, as you do. He's not interested in you until you start destroying his booze, at which point he attacks you like an alcoholic father. He's one of the toughest fights in the game, definitely top 10, and defeating him is a feat to be proud of. As for Taoist Me, you find him in the village I mentioned earlier. He is a trustworthy fellow who asks you to get Violet Hail, which has a random chance to drop from yellow-robed enemies in the area. If none of them drop it, reload and keep going. Once you have it, take it back to him, and being the trustworthy man he is, he demands your death. But we're a monkey, and we conduct the business around here. Oh Jesus, what did he do to himself? Why did you want that? Oh, now we've got this thing? Is she still considered hot by the internet? Or is she too much even for you guys? Okay, now that that's over with, you have my permission to fight the final boss of the secret area, the Dusk Veil. This fight is a damn good one, full of spectacle, variety, and difficulty. It took me a few tries, but I took him down, and got a cool needle as a reward, the 3rd of the 4 vessels, and a very important item. Remember that final chapter boss we've been neglecting for a few minutes now? This needle is super effective against him, stopping one of his super moves cold, and making things much easier for us. There is always a method to my madness, trust me, this is the way they wanted you to play the game. Pigsy's a little sad that we have to leave, but he'll be fine. It's not like she's the only woman he's ever lusted over. Chapter 5. First step, equip the fireproof vessel we got from Chapter 1, and never take it off as long as you're here. Alright, now we can get to work. This video is starting to drag on a little bit, so let's speedrun this. This chapter is actually fairly simple. Not long into this area, we're harassed by this bull demon. Nothing new. But defeating him actually turns him into a friend. He tasks us with defeating 5 carts spread throughout this area, and we're happy to oblige. You'll find 2 of them just as you progress towards the main objective, and as long as you're wary of the flame attacks, they're not particularly hard fights, just dangerous ones. The 3rd card is found in Furnace Valley Entrance. Interact with it to find that Horse Guy is stuck inside and not doing too well. Exhaust his dialogue and move on. While fighting a fun main story boss in a beautiful arena, you may notice a familiar face summoned against you. Once you defeat this man, return to Horse Guy and you'll receive a spell to transform into him, required for a trophy, and a trophy for completing the questline in general. Rest in peace, Horse Guy, you were a real one. Continuing along the beaten path, we have 2 things to address. The first is a trophy, always accompanied, which requires you to find this old man in every chapter, which I managed to do without having to look him up, so it's not that hard of an ask, and this is the final time you'll see him. To clarify, we're in the Rakshasa Palace area. Bring your starting gourd to him fully upgraded, so that's 9 sips total, and he'll reward you with the Supreme Gourd, containing 10 sips of healing, and we will need that for the tasks ahead. Plus it gives us a trophy, so, you know. The second thing is taking out the 4th cart on our list, found in our path as we continue the main story. Kill it, then return to the start of the chapter and talk to the bull, exhausting his dialogue, and then return to where you killed that 4th cart and talk to him once more. Now move on with the main story, we won't be seeing him for a while. I thought this was Black Myth Wukong, not Indiana Jones Monkey Edition. Pigsy, no! Well, I'm sure he's fine. I mean, he can fly after all. When you get to this point, don't do what I did and proceed to the final boss immediately. Instead, go back along the track you just came down, and now that the fires are extinguished, there's a new path unlocked for you to travel towards. At its end, you'll see Bull Guy get absolutely wrecked, and you have to avenge him. Rest in peace, Bull Guy. We hardly knew you, but you were a very cool guy. Eh? Secret area time, and as far as they go, this one is very simple. Head straight forward and kill everything in your way. Every boss, every enemy. Once you kill all the enemies in this throne room, you'll receive a Bull Demon King's Horn, an extremely important crafting material. Do not leave without it. At the end of this pathway of destruction, you'll find the Bishui Beast, a fierce and fiery boss. Defeating him will give us 3 more Bull Demon King's Horns, which won't be enough to craft everything we need in this playthrough, but we'll come back for him again in New Game Plus. Alright, now we can face the final boss. Of course, in my first playthrough I did these things the other way around, but doing it this way is the ideal way, because you get to face chapter N bosses with stronger armor and weapons. Man, the Bull Demon King has seen better days. I'd recommend for you to get a Big Mac, but I think that might be cannibalism. Let's discipline this red boy. No, I'm not being racist, that's literally his name. Alright, now that that's taken care of, we can get the 5th round. Hey! That was mine! Get as big as you want, get as ugly as you want, get yourself world-dominating power, but it won't save you from a monkey with a stick.
My vengeance! Consider it mercy.
Okay, it'll save you for a little bit until I figure out your moveset. A lot of these bosses are pushovers, but when they're hard, they're very hard, but they're usually really good to go along with their difficulty. Completing Chapter 5 gets us the Plantain Fan, the final vessel we need to complete our collection, which earns us a trophy, and it's also a very useful tool against certain bosses, but we'll get to those later. Chapter 6. It's been a long journey to get here, but we're not nearly close to completing it. We don't go 2 minutes before being attacked by whatever the hell you call this thing. Kick its ass and... Oh!
Oh, yes! Oh, yeah!
We have it! The Cloud Somersault. We can traverse the land at incredible speeds, go to any height and any distance. The whole world is ours for the taking! Ah, of course it isn't. Well, we've still got a huge map to explore for Chapter 6, and this cloud is pretty damn fun to ride around on. Now all we need is some combat options for it. The goal here is to attain all 4 pieces of Wukong's armor set by defeating the 4 important bosses of this area, as well as defeating every boss in the game because again we need it for the trophies. There's a rhino that gave me some real problems due to my refusal to use anything other than smash stance, and there's a deer that wields frost and poisonous blood against you that was a decently tough fight. The other 2 encounters are a tad more unique. There's a giant cricket-looking thing that jumps around the map, the Fang-tailed General. He's more of a stat check. You need to jump on and grab onto its antenna, which will damage you. Last long enough and he'll jump a few times with you attached before landing, and then you have to grab onto him again, which will now burn you. Using that fireproof vessel is a good way to ensure you don't die here. Survive this process and you get another piece of Wukong's gear. The final encounter is more a traditional boss fight, except this time well, a mantis flies into Pigsy's stomach and starts cutting him up from the inside, so we need to shrink down, get Vord, and then exterminate it for him. This game is a wild ride. The mantis is a decently tough fight, but we push through and win, attaining the last piece of Wukong's armor. I've been waiting to get my hands on this gear all game. Damn, it looks sick. After that, we finally attain the thing I was most looking forward to collecting. Wukong's original staff, the Ryu Jingu Bang. It's a contender for the best weapon in the game, thank god, and it completes our Wukong set to give us some powerful buffs, including unlocking the awesome Wukong stance for use in Chapter 6. It also unlocks a trophy for us. Beautiful stuff. There are a few other things to take care of here. You need to find this chest. It has a secret armor set which we need for the Mantled with Might trophy. The armor isn't very good right now, but in future New Game Plus cycles... Another thing to take note of is this frog. There's been one frog boss in every chapter of the game, and you need to kill all 6 of them for a trophy, as well as killing them all in general anyway. You should find them all pretty easily with the exception of the one in Chapter 4, he's actually pretty hidden. And the one in Chapter 6 is just hidden by the sheer size of the map. Obviously this one is the toughest of all the frogs, but by this point in the game we've attained huge levels of power, so we can take him down, earning us another trophy and status as an honorary French person. Besides these specific trophy bosses, you still need to fight and kill every enemy and every boss in the game to complete the Portrait's Perfected trophy. We should be well on our way to completing that by now, but if need be, it's super easy to check which ones you don't already have just by looking at your journal. So that, plus a guide, will equal an easy win. I'm sorry for not going further in depth with that trophy, but this video is already getting long and I can't give a step-by-step guide for every single enemy encounter. Now though, it's not time to worry about that. It's time for the finale. We have 5 relics, we're back at Mount Huaguo, it's time to save Sun Wukong. Or rather, become him. As it turns out, the Destined One is the mind of Wukong, or his reincarnation, or both. Either way, we're unawakened as of yet, it's all a little complicated. But regardless, we know what we must do. After a beautiful boat ride through Sun Wukong's mind and memories, we find the Stone Monkey, the lingering remains of Wukong's obsession and nature. We fight it, and after an intense battle, we win. It's not really final boss fight levels of hard. It fights primitively, like a monkey. But of course, that's not the real final fight. The last enemy in our way looks a lot more familiar. The Great Sage's broken shell. The last obstacle in the way of Sun Wukong's return is the remnants of his past self. Thankfully, with the power of the Wukong stance, we can take him down without too much hassle. And then phase 2 begins. He steals the power of Wukong's relics right back, and now you're facing the closest possible thing in the game to a fully powered Sun Wukong. You don't have your Wukong stance anymore, and this boss has so many new moves to kill you with. Oh well, at least we have 10 gourd uses to heal with. Did he just... Okay, that's it. Let's dance. Now that was damn good. One of my favorite bosses ever. And now we've reached the ending. We reacquire the relics of Wukong, but we still end up with that damn headband on our head. Kind of seems like a depressing ending, right? Well, don't worry, we're not quite done. Remember that great pagoda area from Chapter 3, as opposed to the awful pagoda area also from Chapter 3? Well, it now has a purpose. Returning there after doing all 5 secret areas and attaining all the pieces of Wukong's gear allows us to enter a new hidden area, where a familiar foe is waiting for us. Erlang Shen, the most powerful boss in the game, harder than even the Great Sage. We may have faced him before, but there are 2 key points as to why that doesn't help much. 1, that fight was 50 hours ago. 2, we actually have a health bar this time, though not for much longer if he has anything to say about it. God damn, they really built this boss fight. If there is DLC for this game, and there had better be, I cannot wait to see how they top this. It's finally over. Erlang has been beaten, and we've attained some very important new information and the actual 6th relic of Sun Wukong. We return to the realm within the stone to defeat the Great Sage's broken shell for a second time, which comes a lot easier than the first, I must say, though he still makes me work for my win. Now this is an ending that's worth all that effort. The journey is over, Sun Wukong has returned, and we witness the credits roll, this time with a true sense of completion. Except we're not done here, because beneath the trophies you earn from epic boss battles, compelling side quests, and legendary feats, there are the completion trophies, the ones that have you running around like a headless chicken before you start your New Game Plus cycle. You need every weapon, every armor piece, every curio, every celestial pill, every gourd, every drink, seed, and soak, every medicine recipe, every spirit skill and transformation, and every meditation spot. Oh my God. I have a lot to say about these styles of trophies, but I can sum up my general feelings in 3 words. I hate them. As a general rule, these kinds of trophies are goddamn annoying. The meditation spots are fine, getting the legendary gourd is fine, but did I really need to collect every curio, armor piece, and weapon for the platinum, including the ones you can miss for an entire playthrough? You can miss your chance to get certain spirit skills, armor pieces, and curios if you didn't play the game the way I told you to. At least you can pick them up in New Game Plus, and the enemies in New Game Plus don't increase in power nearly as quickly as you do. But we've got a long way to go before we even consider starting a new cycle. We pick up the rest of the spirit skills easily enough. The annoying thing is that all the guides online sort their spirits by alphabetical order, and the game doesn't have an option for you to do this in the menus, resulting in a lot of scrolling to see which ones you've missed. It's just hunting down enemies and taking them out, getting more transformations that I'm never going to use because Wandering White is just too damn good. While I'm out and about, I finish off my portrait collection by killing the last enemies I needed. You need to kill at least one of every enemy in the game to max out this list, and like I said, it's pretty easy to keep track of what ones you need. See, this stuff I don't mind collecting, because it's actual combat, and the portraits come with interesting lore. A couple of these are missable, like the Winter Lanterns or the Scorpion Lord if you don't fight him before you beat the Duskvale, but following my vague instructions should help you avoid any missables. Next up are the meditation spots. Again, just look up a guide, the game keeps track of what spots you've already visited in your journal for you. Next up were the curios. It mainly involves finding a couple of dudes in random areas and just killing them over and over until they drop what I needed. Sadly though, I didn't kill all the Winter Lanterns before killing Captain Wise's voice in the pagoda, so I needed to save that curio for later. But that was the last one I needed, and it's the only truly missable one in the game to my knowledge. I chose to tackle the seeds next. It was a horrible experience. Killing the enemies over and over was tedious, but it was consistent and didn't take too long. Collecting the seeds was anything but. You have a chance to get a seed when picking a plant, with 15 in total to collect. That's why I said you should pick every plant you see even if you don't craft many medicines. Plants only respawn after about 20 to 30 minutes of real world time. I'd gotten most of them throughout my first playthrough, but there were 2 left that I needed to farm, Tree Pearls and Fire Dates. Cue me running around for at least 2 hours picking all the available seeds from each area and then reading A Song of Ice and Fire, A Game of Thrones until they were reset. I could have just adjusted the clock on the PlayStation to make this a little faster, but I wasn't feeling like going into my systems every time I failed to get the RNG I needed. This was easily the worst part of the whole platinum hunt. This is not enjoyable gameplay. But we get that trophy, and then when we bring all the seeds to Qianlong, the grumpy dragon, and that scroll, we get a gourd that contributes to another trophy. And speaking of that trophy, getting all the gourds, drinks, and soaks was actually easier than I thought, for one simple reason. You don't need to fully upgrade your starting drink in order to get the trophy, you just need it in its base form. If this wasn't the case, you'd need like 2.5 playthroughs to get this trophy, because the awakened wine worms you use to upgrade that drink are a limited resource with not enough in a single playthrough to upgrade it all the way, and I'd be a lot angrier at the game for doing that. Some soaks required me to beat up enemies until they dropped, but this wasn't really too long of a grind, and the rest of the gourds and drinks just required a helpful guide. I must say, I'm really starting to feel the drag of this collectathon though. Oh well, there's no point complaining too much, because finally, we can begin New Game Plus. It'll be nice to get back to some proper monkey business. Just by starting this new cycle, we unlock a handful of trophies for getting every magic spell, every portrait, and one for just starting New Game Plus after getting the secret ending. We now need to power our way through to Chapter 3. It's in your best interest to do all the secret areas though, and they will not be very hard for you. In New Game Plus, the enemies do get stronger, but with the power of Wukong's 6th relic in your hands, they just can't keep up. Chapter 3, we run around like a headless monkey until we kill all 9 winter lanterns. Wait for your eyes to go red, find the dudes, and kill them all. There's a hidden one along this way, so make sure to kill him too, and that should complete your curio collection. Speaking of curios, make sure you get the real scroll from Qianlong again and fight the Yin Tiger once more. That'll get you a 4th curio slot, and we're in no position to say no to that. I did find out in Chapter 3 that Yellowbrow can actually take control of your duplicates. You know, my extremely powered up duplicates. By this point I only had 2 trophies left, all of the armor and all of the weapons, and for that we need Chapter 5. We smash our way through Chapter 4 and 5, getting all secrets throughout, and we reach this point here, the secret area of Chapter 5. We need 1 Bull Demon King's horn from this chest and the other 3 from the Bishui Beast, just like last time. And now it's time to finally end this. We craft the Dark Iron Staff, attaining our final weapon and the trophy. And then we craft the Bull King's helmet, attaining our final piece of armor and the trophy. Where's the trophy? I've crafted every armor set. I got the Venus arm guard from Chapter 4, and I found the optional set in Chapter 6. That's all of them, isn't it? As it turns out, no. There's 2 pieces that we're missing. We travel to Chapter 4 and kill this grasshopper enemy over and over for his helmet. And we travel to Chapter 3 and kill this multi-legged bastard over and over for his arm guards. And now we are done. The platinum is mine. Enlightenment is mine. And what did I learn? That collectathon trophies are bullshit. Black Myth Wukong is an incredible game. The world is beautiful and intriguing. The story is mysterious and has a lot of depth to it. The enemies are all varied and have their own interesting stories. The music is fantastic, and obviously the bosses are sensational. Calling this game a boss rush undersells the open world, but they are clearly the main point of the game, and it's one of the strongest boss rushes I've seen in a long time. I wouldn't say it's quite as good as Final Fantasy XVI's in terms of overall quality and highs, but it's definitely in the top tier, and definitely worth a video in the future. The Platinum Trophy hunt is mostly awesome. Trophies requiring you to find all secrets, kill all enemies, beat every boss, and master every magic are perfectly fine. I'm a fan of things like that, even if some are missable. The collectathon at the end did drag on a lot though. Collecting seeds was a painful experience. The enemy drop armor pieces were a pain to collect after I'd already done everything else. And I doubt anyone got the Winter Lantern Curio on their first try unless they looked it up first. It's not even the Bull King stuff that bugs me, because at least those require you to play more of the game and enjoy the excellence in New Game Plus. Oh well, what's done is done, and I am done. The Platinum Trophy gets a solid 8 out of 10, and the game itself gets a 9. It's phenomenal, and a real contender with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for my Game of the Year. I'll be there on day 1 for any DLC they produce for this game. I want to say thank you everyone for watching this video. I'm sorry that it took a while to come out, but this Platinum hunt did take me a while. Stay tuned for a new Yu-Gi-Oh video coming soon, hopefully on Halloween, and let me know what you thought of this video down in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and donate to my Patreon if you think that I've earned it. I've been working hard on new exciting content for you coming quite soon, and I think you'll like what I have planned. With all that said, we're finally done here. Thank you once again for watching, and remember, In life, always return to monkey.